Hey everybody, I am Howard, and this is Otter's Corner. First, let me wish everybody a very happy new year. Hope you all had some great time off, refreshed, ready to go again. I am. I wanted to first start talking today about something one of the viewers commented about. They wanted to know what retirement should look like 10 years out. That's an interesting question, and it's something everybody thinking about retirement should be thinking about 10 years out. Um, I started thinking, and I'm going to base this upon my personal experience, some things I've read about other people, where the thought process starts and the kind of things you think about. I actually started thinking about retirement probably back in 2004, 5. I had just started a new job. The money was decent. I had a new condo. Things were going good. I thought, okay, let's start, just conceptualizing what it would look like in our heads. So I was actually thinking I would retire at 67, which is actually 2024 now. So I was a good 18 years out. And the first thing I want to say is even when you're 10 years out, maybe when you're 5 years out, nothing will happen. Well, most things will not happen like you think they will. Things will change, circumstances will change. You'll lose jobs, you'll get a better job, you'll lose a relationship, you'll start a relationship, the economy will go into tank, the economy will take off. Things are going to happen. So have it in your mind, okay, this is a broad scope idea of what retirement looks like. And when you're that far out, the first thing you really need to focus on most keenly is financial. Where will I get the money? How much money do I need? When will I have that money? So, if your target is 10 years, let's say you're 65 or 67, you're saying, I'm going to retire in 10 years. All right, that's where it starts. So we'll get to the financial part at the last part, but there's other things to consider here. This is where you very first start thinking about geography. Where do you want to live? For me, many years ago, back in 2004, 5, 6, I had the idea that I wanted to live in Florida. So I thought that might change, but that was my idea. San Diego was probably a close second, but as I said before, way too expensive. Um, then 2008, 9 came, and the condo I was counting on being worth 300,000 when I retired, I eventually sold for 112,000. I kept my job. A lot of people didn't. I kept my job. There weren't any raises for a few years. Our company went out of business in essence and got bought out by someone else before we had to shutter the place, at the last minute. So I got lucky, but things change. So I kept my geography, is the Florida area. So this is something not only if yourself, if you're married, obviously this goes hand in hand with your spouse, your wife, or your husband, whatever it is. What do they want? So these conversations should probably start taking place now because if you wait till the last minute, it's going to cause issues. I promise you that. Um, think of things about like what's the political environment where you're going? What's the religious environment? What's what's there to do? Are there water sports? Are there professional sports teams? Are classical music, opera, art? What is it that you like? And think about what you like. Don't think about, gee, this is the only place I can afford. Think about, set the bar kind of high. Where do you want to live? What do you want to do? What's that look like? The other thing is the emotional aspect of it. Don't worry about it too much 10 years out, but as you get a little closer, can I relax? I couldn't. I actually tried practicing on vacations to relax, but I'm always thinking about that next thing. I could never relax on vacations. That didn't go well for me. But I also knew I had a lazy streak that when I had some things to do, I was okay sitting around doing nothing for a while. So I thought that was good for retirement. But maybe you want to practice relaxing. It sounds silly, but trust me, if you're high strung, it's going to be a difficulty. Um, there's a vocational aspect. Maybe you want to work part time. For me, that's not the idea of retirement, but maybe you want to work part time. Maybe you want to volunteer. Maybe you want to, have hobbies, stamp collecting. I don't know what your hobby is. Mine was golf. If that's what you want to do, think about that and think about what places are best for that. Maybe if it's golf, obviously there's warm weather areas you want to live in, and if it's snow skiing, go to Colorado, whatever it is for you. Um, Most of all, think about your relationship with your spouse. All this has to work for both of you. Your spouse may not retire at the same time as you. For me, my spouse is going to work a while longer because she's much younger. Um, that's got to be consideration. Are you going to move somewhere and you're going to retire and your spouse is going to continue to work, and how will your spouse feel like? It's like, okay, they may say they're comfortable with that, they understand that, but you really need to talk about that, and you may have to delay your retirement or quicken the retirement of your spouse just to make that work. All right, let's talk about the financial side. And this is where, and I've talked about this in other videos, you have to understand what your expenses are. And 10 years out, it's kind of broad. So what I'd say is figure out what you're spending now, figure out what differences there will be when you're retired. And again, talked about it before. Maybe you'll take more vacations. Maybe you'll go more, sporting events. Maybe you'll, do things that are cheap. Maybe you'll go hiking. Whatever it is, figure out what those things cost. Put that together with your expenses now. The good news is if you're not working, you no longer are paying Social Security and Medicare taxes. You're not contributing to a 401k or an IRA anymore. You can take those out. You'll probably end up somewhere close to where you are now. And then you're going to take that expense number, and since you're 10 years out, you're going to multiply it by at least 50% more because of inflation. You may want to go a little higher, a little lower, whatever it is, it's up to you, but in my mind, 50% is a comfortable way to go. Who knows what inflation is going to be? So now you have this expense amount in your mind, all right? And I'm going to come over to the board here. So you're going to say your planned expenses, right now about 60,000 is what you're planning, but because it's 10 years out, you're thinking 90,000. This hurts. This will hurt you some. And that's why it's good to do that now, because you don't want to do this 2-3 years out and think, gee, I didn't think about inflation at all. My expenses are much higher and they're going higher. So you got 90,000. Let's say based upon when you're planning to take Social Security, and it doesn't have to be when you retire. You can go a couple years without taking Social Security. I'm going from 65 to 70 without Social Security. I had a plan for that. But for simplicity's sake, this is just kind of the thought process I want to put you through. So combined, you and your spouse are going to get 54,000. That leaves you needing 36,000. Very simple. If there's pensions or if there's passive income or any kinds of other income, you're going to subtract that out too. But let's, for simplicity's sake, say you need 36,000, all right, a year. So out of your current portfolio stands at 300,000, and you want to withdraw 4.5%. There's the 4% rule. Maybe that's too little for you. Maybe 5% is a little scary. Anyway, whatever you want. I'm using 4.5 just because it's kind of a comfortable number. Use whatever number you think is going to work for you. All right, so based on a 4.5% withdrawal rate to get $36,000 a year, adjusting for inflation, increasing your withdrawal each year, you're going to need $800,000. So you're going to have to save $500,000 in the next year. And that can seem a little daunting. I certainly get that. Everybody understands that. So now you're going to say, okay, well, how much do I have to save to get there? And that's the key part of all of this. 10 years out, the key part is how much money do I have to save? So based upon a 7% growth rate, you can use 8, you can use 6, depending upon what your portfolio looks like. I'm going to use 7. It's just a nice, comfortable number. This is how much you have to save monthly. $1,132. So combining that with the $300,000 you have and earning 7% a year, that'll get you to your $800,000. So now you have a number to work with. So 10 years out, can you do that? Can you right now save $1,132 a year? Is it more than you're saving now? Find a way to save that. Is it less than you're saving now? Continue saving that. Maybe don't save as much. You might want to, well, maybe I can retire in 9 years or 8 years because I can save a lot more. That's your decision. Keep in mind, things are going to change. You want to revisit this every year on the financial side, and you want to really hone in. I'd say about 2 years out is when I really honed in, started making decisions, starting putting things in action. This is where we're going to go. Let's start looking in this area. Let's start thinking about what we're going to do, what we have to join, what are the organizations, where's work for the spouse that's going to keep working. Figure that out as you go along, and you'll be ready to retire. So once again, have a great retirement when you get there. Please subscribe, please like, please share. Happy New Year, and give me your comments. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me how you're planning. Tell me when you started planning, and have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.